Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning back in to the end of Out of the Dust. We will finish it. We pick up on page 220. This one's called Thanksgiving List. Prairie birds, the whistle of gophers, the wind blowing, the smell of grass, the spicy earth. Friends like Mad Dog, the cattle down in the river, water washing over their hooves, the sky so big, so full of shifting clouds, the cloud shadows creeping over the fields, Daddy's smile, and his laugh and his songs, Louise, food without dust, Daddy seen to Ma's piano, newly cleaned and tuned, the days when my hands don't hurt at all, the thank you note from Lucille in Moline, Kansas, the sound of rain, Daddy's hole staying full of water as the windmill turns, the smell of green, of damp earth, of hope returning to our farm, the poppies set to bloom on Ma and Franklin's grave, the morning with the whole day waiting, full of promise, the night of quiet, of no expectations of rest, and the certainty of home, the one I live in, and the one that lives in me. November of 1935. Wow, she found a lot of stuff to be thankful for. This one's called Music. I'm getting to know the music again, and it is getting to know me. We sniff each other's armpits and inside each other's ears and behind each other's necks. We are both confident and a little sassy, and I know now that all the time I was trying to get out of the dust, the fact is, what I am because of the dust, and what I am is good enough, even for me. That was November of 1935. This one's called Teamwork. Louise and I take walks after dinner every time she comes. And by the time we get back, the kitchen looks pretty good. Daddy only leaves a few things he doesn't understand, like big pots and wooden spoons and leftovers. And that makes me a little irritated, but mostly it makes me love him. And Louise, knowing exactly what's left to be done, helps me finish up. She was my father's teacher at the night school class. She never married. She went to college for 2 years and studied and worked, and didn't notice how lonely she was until she met Daddy and fell into the big hurt of his eyes. She knows how to keep a home. She knows how to cook. She knows how to make things last through winters and drought. She knows how to smooth things between two red-headed people, and she knows how to come into a home and not step on the toes of a ghost. I still feel grateful she didn't make cranberry sauce last month at the first Thanksgiving we spent together. Louise made sweet potatoes and green beans and turkey and 2 pies, pumpkin and chocolate. I was so full my lids sighed shut, and Daddy walked with Louise instead of me, out to Ma and Franklin's grave, where he let Ma know his intentions. And Ma's bones didn't object, neither did mine. And when she came back to the house, Daddy still cleaned the kitchen. That was December of 1935. This one's called Finding a Way. Daddy started talking about planting the rest of the acres in wheat, but then just said, no, let's just go with what we've got right now. And I've been playing a half hour every day, making the skins stretch, making the scars stretch. The way I see it, hard times aren't only about money or drought or dust. Hard times are about losing spirit and hope, and what happens when dreams dry up. The tractor's busted. We don't have the cash to fix it, but there's nothing saying Daddy can't do the work by hand. It can't be any harder than digging a hole 40 by 60 by 6 feet deep. Daddy bought a second mule with Louise's help, her betrothed gift to him. He walks behind the team, step by step, listing the holes to fight the wind. Maybe the tractor lifted him above the land. Maybe the fields didn't know him anymore, didn't remember the touch of his feet, or the stroke of his hand, or the bones of his knees. And why should wheat grow for a stranger? Daddy said he'd try some sorghum, or maybe cotton, admitting as how there might be something to this notion of diversification folks were talking about. And yes, he'd bring the grass back like Ma wanted, where he wasn't planting anything else. He'd make new sod, and I'm learning, watching Daddy, that you can stay in one place and still grow. I wiped dust out of the roasting pan. I wipe dust off of Ma's dishes and wait for Daddy to drive in with Louise, hoping she'll stay a little later, a little longer, waiting for the day when she stays for good. She wears a comical hat with flowers in December, and when she smiles, her face is full enough of springtime. It makes her hat seem just right. She brings apples in a sack, perfect apples she arranges in a bowl on the shelf, opposite the book of poetry. Sometimes while I'm at the piano, I catch her reflection in the mirror, standing in the kitchen, soft-eyed, while Daddy finishes chores, and I stretch my fingers over the keys, and I play. That was December of 1935, and that was the end. Oh, that was a hard book. I picked it because it kind of reminded me, I guess, of, I don't know, this pandemic and how long we've kind of been isolated. She is, but even as bad as things were in that story for Billie Joe, and as hard as it's been for us during this pandemic, you can kind of see like we're starting to come out of it just a little bit. Even, that's good. Be safe,